This is If My People Bible Reading Part 63, Book of Exodus, and we left you with the rock being struck, and Yahweh said to do it. There's a reason for it. Um, this later on is going to represent his son being struck, in which Yahweh allowed the Romans, the Pharisees, and all those evil people in Jerusalem to strike and eventually kill Yeshua. Uh, Yahweh allowed it. Yahweh could have stopped it, could have sent angels to do it, but it was all um, the will of the Father and the Son's love for his bride so much that he was willing to lay down his life. So it's going to happen again. And this time, the Father says, "Talk to the rock." But that's not what Moses does. This is what gets Moses in trouble. And so we're coming up to a very pivotal point in this Bible reading that separates one side of 30,000 denominations, churches that are just teaching. I don't know what they're teaching. It's not biblical. It's not just reading the word from beginning to end. They don't do this. Churches don't do this. They go through all kinds of other rigmarole that has nothing to do with the word of the Father. So now we'll go to chapter 18. And Jethro, which is just another word for like a great leader, as we mentioned before, what Jethro really means. The priest of Midian and the father-in-law of Moses heard about everything going on, and he just says, he's delighted what's going on. And he just gives Moses some advice. And he just says, hey, you're doing all this work and you're judging and looking. Every day you're sitting on the chair and people are coming up and whining and griping and complaining and going after each other. And you're making decisions based upon all that. And that's just a ton of work. And you got to remember, there are 2.5 million people. So there's a lot of complaining going on. And here's Moses make decisions. So Jethro's saying, you need, 5, 10, 15, 20, you need 100 people to help you out. And this is how you should do it in these graduated levels, the way the government works. And that's kind of the way the United States government used to work. Right now, we're a lawless nation, period. I'm not even going to defend it. It's a mess, and it's going to be judged. We're being judged over this gay, lesbian, queers, homosexuals, transvestites, and now, the worst of the Sodom and Gomorrah is that this new uh, NAMBLA, North American Men Boy Lovers Association. It's a real organization that's been around a long time, and now Umbro. People used to be so. I used to hear young people in their 30s and 40s now. They're 30, 40 years old. Say, I remember when I was a teenager, I wore Umbro clothes. Those were the greatest. They didn't even understand Umbro, United Men Boys Resistance Organization. They want to have sexual relationships with your children of the age of 5 and older. They think they want it legally made legal. That's what they're doing. This is one of the most evil things that's going on in this country right now. And, I'm not sitting here being laughing about everything just to say something to entertain you people. That's just too bad. I need to say certain things before we get so far down the road that I don't want to be held responsible for doing nothing. I'm doing everything I can to stop this. Uh, Now they want as much rights as the gays, the lesbians, the homosexuals, the transvestites, and all the other elemental PQs that go together with it. Now they're all joining together with this. So this is all going to come to a crash one day. Um, and the law is going to be carried out. In the chapter 19, the third month of the Israelites that leave in Egypt, on the very day they came to the desert of Sinai, and they had set out from Rephidim. They entered this desert of Sinai and camped there in the desert and in front of the mountain. Now, so they are in Saudi Arabia. Um, And Moses went up to Yahweh, and Yahweh called to him from the mountain and said, now Moses went up. You're taught in Sunday school and all these other things that Moses went up and got the Ten Commandments, or you saw the movie with Charlton Heston, right? He went up there, he got the Ten Commandments, and it came down. That's not even close. Not even close, folks. When you read the word, Moses went up and down the mountain about 10 times. So here he goes up here in the third month. Moses goes up, and Yahweh called to him from the mountain and said, this is what you are to say to the house of Yaakov, the 12 tribes, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. You yourselves have seen what I did in Egypt and how I carried out you on eagle's wings and brought you out to myself. Now you hear later on in this rapture theory stuff that we're going to be raptured up and carried out in eagle's wings and taken to Israel, flying through the air with supernatural bodies. Is that what you just read here? Is that what I just told you? Here's Yahweh talking about this very same thing that he's doing then in the first Exodus. And they walked there, and they stayed in the desert for 40 years. Where's this flying around supernatural bodies at? And it's not in the future either. It's not like that. The details we'll continue on with. Just check me out on everything I say and do. Check on everything I say. It says here, you are to obey me fully and keep my covenant. Then out of the nations you will be my treasured possession, although the whole earth is mine to begin with. You will be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. That's the Melchizedek. There's once again, this Melchizedek is mentioned throughout the Bible, not just once in Genesis and not just once in the New Testament, okay? Not even close. So, this chapter 19 is at 18 and 19 and 20. Goodness sakes, it's very important. So Moses went back. Now he's going down the mountain and summoned the elders and the people and set before them all the words. Now in the future, the elders will be the 144,000 in the future. The second Exodus coming up. But he set before them all the words that Yahweh had commanded him to speak. So the shepherds were being gathered here. The sheep is below them at the bottom of the mountain. The people. The people all responded together, we will do everything Yahweh has said. So Moses brought their answer back to Yahweh. Moses goes back up the mountain. Now Moses has been up there twice. Has he got the tablets yet? No. All right, get it? If you actually read the word and don't listen to what the guy says in the pulpit, who says it very shortly so he can get his little sermon over, so you can all leave after 50 minutes and get some chicken somewhere. You got to get there for the Baptists get there, and get there for the Methodists get there. You don't get no chicken. I grew up in the Christian church. I know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know it's the truth. Yahweh said to Moses, where am I at? 8 minutes. I'm going to come at you in a dense cloud so the people will hear me speaking with you and will always put their trust in you. Now, is this going to happen in the future? Yes. Does this happen now? No. What you'll find from this is later on when they really mess up with the golden calf incident and there's sexual perversions going on in the nth degree, they come back and say, Moses, we don't even want to hear from him. We don't want to hear his voice. We're scared to death of him. Well, I would be too, if I was doing all those things. And then after Yahweh kills a bunch of people, sends them straight to the pits of hell, opens the earth and swallows them for what they did. He told them not to do it, and they did it right after he told them not to do it. Talk about disobedient kids. And be ready on the third day, because on that day Yahweh will come down from Mount Sinai in the sight of the people. That's chapter 19, very important, verse 12, and verse 11 and 12. What did you just hear? Yahweh will come down. Yahweh's not going to come down that mountain. Yahweh Elohim, his son will, YHWH, because they'll get to see him. There's going to be a marriage ceremony. He's going to come down and meet his bride. That's what this is all about on this mountain. This is what is supposed to happen and did not happen because of their disobedience and sin. And this will happen in the future with you, with those who hear and obey. It will. This is so when you read this is what Paul knew the Old Testament inside and out. He did not have a whole pile of New Testament in him when he wrote most of the New Testament. But you'll find out that he was missing for 3 years. He was missing for 3 years, so he was down there in Mount Sinai, sitting down with Jesus, with Yeshua. That's where he learned all this stuff, came back and wrote all these books. And then he was missing 6 years later. If you count up where he's been and where he's not been, and you find out that he wasn't put in chains all that time, he was somewhere else. He always wanted to be in Tarsus. He always wanted to go to Spain. He always wanted to go up to where Yeshua probably lived from the age of 12 to 25, 26 years old. And that was in England. That was absolutely in that area in southern England. And that's something I can't prove, but if you talk to the people who lived in the Netherlands and who lived in England and lived in Scotland, who know who they are, know what tribe they are, and know all the traditions of that time that they believe in by evidence from their living ones passed down all this information, you too would understand it. But for us in America, we don't believe that. You got to be hit upside with a ball peen hammer before we learn anything. Put the limits for the people around the mountain and tell them, be careful that you do not go up on the mountain or touch the foot of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. He shall surely be stoned or shot with arrows. Not a hand will be laid on him, whether man or animal. He shall not be permitted to live. In other words, that's a holy mountain. It's a holy Kadosh mountain. And then he said to the people, prepare yourselves on the third day, abstain from sexual relations. Why would he say that? This is what we've been saying in this Bible study. Something terrible sexually happened in the mountain in the Garden of Eden. Some DNA manipulation terribly happened in Genesis 1:1 to 1:2 that destroyed and made the earth become chaos and fall into total disarray and darkness. Something happened in the times of Noah. All the people had to be destroyed, and all the plants and everything that had to be drowned out and flushed with salt water, cleansing action. Something happened in Sodom and Gomorrah, and it's always sexual deviant behavior. And look at the lifestyle we live in today in the United States. Look at it. We're going to be judged big time. It's coming. And if you, those who hear and obey, are living among people because, well, I just read among all the people and love everyone in the world. Yeah, you do, huh? And you live like that lifestyle. So you're a great big stalk of wheat, being good to the Father, hearing and obeying, and you're surrounded by tares. And one day the angels, the messengers come in, the reapers, and they take out the bad tares first. They don't come to get the Christians to fly away. It's the bad people who get nailed first. And if you're connected to them because you want to be with them, living in the big city where everything's piled on top of people, where the Bible says over and over again, don't live in big cities. Don't live on things that are all piled up. And any story in the Bible that you read, when you read about cities, does it ever end good? On any city, name one. No. Even Jerusalem, in the last days, it's called Sodom and Egypt. Sodom and Egypt is what it's called before the Yahweh comes and takes and claims his city back again. So, on the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning with a thick cloud. Now that's verse 16 over the mountain. And what are we at? Chapter 19. And a very loud trumpet blast. Everyone in the camp trembled. Then Moses led the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain, and Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because Yahweh descended in it with fire. The smoke billowed up like the whole mountain and trembled violently, and the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder. Then Moses spoke, and the voice of Elohim answered him. And Yahweh descended to the top of Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Yahweh came from somewhere. He wasn't at the top of the mountain. He came down to the top of the mountain. Did you hear that? And Moses went up. So Moses went up, it says. Well, now where are we at? Well, we're at the third trip up. See you at the next meeting. Hope you're there. Hang in there. You're doing good.